we have some major macro news that could be happening before a potential altcoin breakout here. Now, I've been talking about this breakout for the altcoins, which includes Ethereum, which has already tried to break out of the previous all time highs that was set initially in 2021. This is very significant because if Ethereum follows the lead of Bitcoin, I would expect the altcoins to be following as well. And I'm talking about total three. So I've been talking about some major economics news that could very much fuel this bull market, which is basically the rate cut that could be very well coming in September. Okay, we're gonna be talking about that. Some major reports that are coming out that could affect that rate cut probability, which is significant. Because remember back in December of last year when Jay Powell, the Fed, basically announced that we're pausing on the rate cuts. You guys can see how the markets reacted. The markets did not like that, and we basically entered into um, a a mini bear market in the beginning of the year before finally bouncing back about April. We're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoin setups later in this video, which would include CELO, CELO, Proof, as well as, let's take a look, as well as Drift Protocol. Drift Protocol. So these coins later in this video, I highly don't recommend that you guys skip through because I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin, which is the driver of this market. I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of what's happening in Bitcoin because that could truly wreck you. Okay. If Bitcoin pumps, that's good for the altcoins. And if Bitcoin dumps, that's very bad for the altcoins. Let's go ahead and take a look into some news first before diving into the charts. All right, first piece here. Bitcoin megaphone pattern targets 260K as Bitcoin price screams oversold. Now, this is by Cointelegraph, and I love this headline here because, okay, the megaphone pattern, what they're referring to, I think it's on the weekly time frame here. Now, this is not a pattern I see very much, and I don't really study this pattern because it's not a widely recognized pattern. Okay, but if you guys study it, good for you. So I can't really say too much about it, but from within the pattern, I have been pointing out to you guys that there is a cup and handle on the weekly time frame where Bitcoin broke out of it, and the price target for that is 145K. Now, is there a good chance that Bitcoin gets to 260K? I think there is still a pretty good chance. Okay, and why is that good for the altcoins? Because if Bitcoin has more room to run, so will the altcoins. I am going to be tracking the basically overbought indicator, which is the RSI that I use. I personally love to use the RSI as the indicator for if this market is overheated or not, or overbought. In this case, this headline is calling it oversold. I think they're talking about the smaller time frame, which I mentioned to you guys when Bitcoin pulled back to about 109, 108K before saying that there is very likely a bounce back that we're seeing right now. So I think 260K is very well within the cards. I am not really studying the megaphone pattern. I am talking about a cup and handle pattern, and if and when it reaches 145K and it consolidates there, I could chart the consolidation pattern for you guys and get the next targets. I am long on Bitcoin. I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here. So my opinion on this market is, of course, bullish right now. But I'll tell you guys when I change my opinion and why, of course, because that's more important. But of course, these are just my opinions and not financial advice like the rest of this video. Next piece here is by Today Q News. Ethereum ETFs attract 3 times Bitcoin ETF inflows in 3 days. Now, 3 days is not a very long time frame. Okay, so I mean, it could make a sprint in a short time frame, but I don't think it's too significant. Just in terms of the 3 day time frame. Right, in that 3 days time span. But I do think that there is something significant happening with Ethereum. It is trying to break through its all-time highs. Like I said, it's basic. I think it hit about 4,900 and something. This is significant because if Ethereum breaks through, I would expect the altcoin market to break through as well, like the smaller caps, as I've been seeing in the past couple of years. Right, when it hits breakdown targets, the total three will follow. If it hits breakout targets, total three will follow. But all in all, like everything is following Bitcoin. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next piece here, where it says this is by the block. Okay, let me also give credit to sorry, the previous was Today Q News. That was the credit to the previous news piece here. The third here is by the block. Bitcoin balances on knife edge as short-term investors brace for macro events. Analysts. All right, let's come over here where it mentions some of these macro events like the job data, which is very important. The first week of September. CPI data on September 11th. Fed meeting September 17th. Let's take a look at the Fed rate cut probability as of today is still about 87%, heavily in favor of a 25 basis point rate cut, which it doesn't sound like it's too significant, but I do think this is going to start a trend of a rate cut cycle, which will very likely fuel this bull market. All right, so that is something macro to be paying attention to. All right, next piece here is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin ignores new OG whale selling as Bitcoin hits 113K. 113K is very significant in quite a few ways. First of all, we're still above that 110K resistance from that cup and handle pattern where I mentioned if we break through that again, past that, that month of May head fake, that this is significant because this will still mark the start of this bull cycle. Okay. So 113K is significant. We're above that head fake level as well from back in May. So something to be paying attention to. All right, is the Bitcoin bull cycle coming to an end? Analysts weigh in. Now, I'll just tell you guys my opinion. I think this bull cycle is still just starting based on what I'm seeing on the monthly RSI for Bitcoin. We're nowhere near those FOMO levels from back in 2021, 2017. Now, does it have to play out exactly like 2021, 2020, 2017? No, but is there anything telling me otherwise right now? Also, I don't think so. But I'll tell you guys when I change my opinion. All right, next piece is we're gonna be coming out to back to the charts here for Bitcoin. Now, I just want to point out that Bitcoin is going to be following is highly correlated with ES1 exclamation mark, which is the stock market futures. Something to be paying attention to, but my time on this video is short. So I'm just going to be pointing out that to you guys. I'll point out something else if I see something significant. But other than that, ES1 exclamation mark is running within a rising wedge pattern, which is something you should be paying attention to because rising wedges are bearish, right? And if this thing breaks down, that could still drag Bitcoin down with it. And on this daily time frame for stock market futures, S&P 500 futures, the breakdown target, if it breaks down by this point, is going to be about 6,200. Now, targets are only estimates, right? There could be more, there could be less. Now, if the stock market is actually able to break out of here, out of this bearish pattern to the upside, that would be very bullish. Okay, and I would expect Bitcoin to be following as well. Now let's go ahead and go to Bitcoin. All right, I've talked about this daily time frame where after that dip, okay, for Bitcoin down to about 108K, just a couple days ago, where it did get kind of scary, okay, because the bull market is on the line, but we're on some, we're on a very strong support range. First of all, we got the 110K level, of course, because we broke out of that. And when we break out of something, it becomes support the next time it touches it. So this looks like a bullish retest right now. If this does not hold, the next key level I'll be looking at will be the weekly 21 SMA, currently at about 107K, and that's coming up as the week closes. We do also have a monthly candle close that's coming up. We still do have bearish divergence on there, but there has been exceptions where the bull cycle breaks out, or if the bull cycle actually breaks out, like back in December 2020 and October 2017, this bearish signal could get invalidated. It's in the cards, but I also know that bearish divergence also could indicate a pullback. So something to also be careful of as well, because nothing in this market is 100%. So I just gotta acknowledge the signals and place my bets accordingly. All right, daily time frame here. Let's come back here. So I talked about a falling wedge pattern, broke out of it, came down to about 108K, but the breakout's still valid because the price action is still above this upper trend line here, technically. Now, price target for this breakout here is about 121K. And since the breakout and touching 108K level, I also mentioned this smaller falling wedge. And you guys should pay attention to falling wedges because they're probably the most common pattern. Very simple, effective. It tells you that it usually breaks back out to the upside. And in these cases, it has been. Price target for the smaller one is going to be just short of 115K, which could be very significant because that means we have a lot lower chance of coming back down to lower levels for Bitcoin and, of course, the altcoins. Let's take a look into let's go ahead and go to the altcoins now. All right, we're going to be talking about CELO, which is a request by one of my viewers, longtime viewers. Thank you very much for your comments. I wish, when I started this channel and when I'm continuing this channel for from the beginning of this year, my my goal is to share my insights and help you guys see this market more clearly, so you can actually make more self-informed opinions. Okay, so you can depend less on others, because if you guys are in here for the long run, I do think forming your opinions is very important. Okay, because I don't want to watch people's opinions. I hardly watch people's opinions anymore unless it's really interesting, right? I mainly depend on my own opinions. I've been in this game for over 5+ years, and I hope, if you guys are in this game for the long run, you guys will be able to trade this on your own. And that's what I'm here for, is to share my insights for you guys to learn how I'm seeing it on the charts, develop your own perspectives, and then trade on your own with mainly your own opinions. And of course, none of what I'm saying here is financial advice, but for you guys to just develop your own perspective, because that's very important. Now, let's come over here to CELO. What has happened with CELO here? This is CELO. I've talked about a falling wedge pattern on the weekly time frame. You guys will see a very similar pattern with a lot of altcoins because they've been in this huge downtrend since the beginning of this year. This one even since March 2024. That was a brutal time. And it has formed this huge falling wedge pattern. Looks like CELO is trying to break out. I'm going to move this measure target a little bit further away because I don't think it's going to break out this week. But let's just say if it breaks out here, for example, price target would be about $1.80, just right above that. Quite a bit of resistance along the way, of course, including the weekly 50 SMA at about 49 cents right now. Weekly 200 SMA, the orange line at about $1.05. Some things to be paying attention to because those are going to be some key resistances where traders take profits. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame and see what CELO could be doing. Could this be working on a breakout here? Now, daily time frame, there is a double bottom, okay? One bottom, second bottom, bullish divergence on this double bottom. That is right here, equal or higher lows on the RSI despite a lower low on the price action chart. Price target for this double bottom would be about 41 cents price target. Neckline for this double bottom would be about 36 cents. Something to be paying attention to. You got your daily moving averages acting as resistance as well. So this is CELO. Let's take a look into proof. See what's happening in this market. It's a relatively new market, right? And with some of these new markets, I've been seeing, that pump and then a retrace. This is the daily time frame. Price, this falling wedge, very common pattern, as I've been saying. You guys should know falling wedges. And it broke out about, as of yesterday's daily candle. And price target for this breakout is about $1.55, about there. Daily 21 SMA is at about $1.23. That's going to be your resistance. We're seeing a pullback right now, even just right before that resistance, as traders are expecting a pullback there. So that's why you guys should be paying attention to moving averages. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame and see if I can get any more clues on what could be happening. So hourly time frame, I don't see anything exactly happening in terms of a pattern, but that's what I'm seeing for proof. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of CELO proof. Let's go ahead and go to Drift Protocol. Drift Protocol. Weekly time frame. This is still a relatively new coin. I see data back, just tracing back to, I think March or May 2024. It could be a little older, but what I'm seeing here is weekly time frame, falling wedge pattern. I don't have exactly 3 candles touching on the bottom trend line, but I think that's close enough. Price target for this breakout here, it broke out back in March. And price target is about just short of $1.70. This price action is still valid for this breakout. And let's see if it reaches that price target, because it very much depends on the markets, right? I've seen just because you break out of a pattern does not mean 100% you're going to reach that price target. It depends on if we're in a bull market, sideways market, bear market. We are a lot more likely to reach price targets, upside price targets, during bull market, and I've seen some of those price targets get broken through as well, in like the craze of a bull cycle. Let's take a look into the daily time frame. Daily time frame, it could be forming some type of a cup and handle scenario. Still too early to say, but if it comes back here to retest about that 75 cents level 2 more times on this daily time frame, it could form a cup and handle, which usually breaks to the upside. Okay. Now, if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, or if you want to see any other coins in this market, let me know. I will pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis. I'll see you on the next one.